Today I have something exciting. I've had this for a while, but I just got something new. We got something in here, something really exciting. And I don't know, maybe Nitsi, maybe DZO film, maybe what? We don't know, so we gotta check it out. Gotcha, it's Canon FDs. I'm not big enough to get Nitsi or DCO to send me anything, but I've had these guys for a while. I've used them on several, shoots. But today I wanted to come out with my buddy Malik that is behind the camera, and we're just going to test this out, the different focal lengths. So I'll share with you guys. I have 6 set of Canon FDs. I have the 24, I have the 50, I have the 28, which is actually on the lens right here. I have the 35, I have 50, I have 100, and then the 100 macro. So today the goal is to just, show you guys the different focal lengths and what they do, how they look, how they feel, and then just having fun. All of them but the 150 are 2.8. So the 24, 28, 35, 100 are 2.8. The macro 100 is f4. And this is the kin right here. This guy is 1.4. So this is the 50 1.4. So other than that, all of these lenses are 2.8. I'll test 1.4 all the way through and we will see how they look. So let's get to it, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, so right now I have the 28 on. So what I'm going to do is switch it to the 24, and then we're going to go from the widest to the longest. So 24 all the way to the 100 macro. And one thing that I like about these FDs, I wish all of the ones I had was the same. I wish they were all the breech locks because it's so easy to mount them. So what we're gonna do is take this off here, and I'm going to leave my FD to EF mount on here, so then I don't have to keep taking them off. I wish I had one for each of the lenses, but you don't need one for each lens, but it will be nice to have. So what I'll do is just take the FD lens off, leave the adapter on there, and we're going to mount this guy. Just like that, we have the 24mm on. If you guys can see, I have this gold reflector here bouncing off Malik's face, and this is the 24mm lens in front of the lens, and I'm shooting at 2.8 right now. Now the only problem is if I want to go at f4, f5.6, I would have to switch to my variable ND. So for 2.8, I'm going to leave it at the 9th stop, but if I put on my variable ND, I might stop down until maybe Malik is in total darkness before maybe I even switch. So we will see if I'll be able to stop down the aperture without having him in complete darkness. But if you can see behind him, there is all these lights, and it's kind of separates him from the background, which is a very beautiful alleyway that we are with all this graffiti. So this is the 24, and how does the sharpness look at 2.8? The flare, the haze. One thing with these lenses is when you stop down, it gets a little bit more clearer, like the haziness drop, and then it gets a little bit more sharp. So now I'm at 3.5, and this is f4. So this is f4 right here, and then back to 2.8. So just for the flexibility of this test, I think I'm going to switch to ISO 400 which is the base ISO for this camera, the Zcam E2 F6, and then use my variable ND so we can run through this really quick. But I do like shooting at 2500 and just kind of like pushing the ISO, using the 9-stop ND, shooting at 2500. All right, no problem. So I'm gonna switch to ISO 400, take this guy off. And then we're gonna take this off because it's 77 versus 82. And I'll say one thing with all my FD lenses, I have 82 filter step-up ring on for all of the lenses except one, which is the 35, but I can switch that. I need to get one of those. So it's easy to just, you know, get it and put filters on it. If only I can know how to take this guy off. All right, here we go. I have the variable ND on. So this is 2.8, 24, 2.8, right there. I'm gonna punch in so I can focus. And then F4, F3.5, F4. We're gonna open up one stop. F5.6, another stop right there. So for F5.6, you can see how sharp this lens is. Let me punch in and focus right there. You can see how focused, sharp it is. And then we're gonna go stop back down to, I'm not gonna go to F8 because I don't know if I will ever be in a situation where I'll shoot F8 for video. So 5.6 is kind of like most of the time the close down I will go to. And then let's go back to 2.8 and it's overexposed, so we take it back to where it was. So that is the 24 for you. So we're gonna switch to the 28. Malik is gonna keep standing where he is, and I'm gonna keep the camera rolling. And let's switch to the 28 real quick. So this is 28, and let's focus. I feel like the 28 is sharper than the 24 because this is a 2.8 and you can see the haze a little bit, you know, but especially if you look in the highlight all the way where the tree is. But then let's stop it down to 3.5 right here, and you can see how, let's focus right there, how sharp it is. Man, I love this 28. I feel like it's become my go-to lens. I have a Zeiss Distagon, which I have dismantled at home, operating on it to fix the aperture that doesn't move. That closed down, you know, open up. But this FD28 is really, really nice as well. So now, this is a 28. We're gonna stop down all the way to F5.6. And then let's open up this guy. And this is 5.6. So at 5.6, it's even more sharper. The haziness has gone down a bit. I really, really like it. But again, most of the time, I like stopping down my lens. It depends on the situation, but most of the time, opening it. Well, I like opening up wide, the aperture wider. That's what I meant to say. So let's go back to 2.8. Stop this guy down. And right here is the 2.8. So let's go to 35. I'm not a huge fan of 35 for video, but in my last two short films, Rebecca, I shot 35 more than I thought. But I don't know, for some reason, I have not been feeling 35 that much. But we're gonna switch to the 35. So now, the 24 is the breech lock, is the older version. And then the 28 is the newer one, the FD, the NFD. And then the 35 is also the newer one. So now we're going to switch to the 35 right here. And now we are at 35. And this is it. We're getting closer and closer and closer. Now at 35, you can actually see the separation, like the bokeh in the background, compared to the 24 and 35 and 28. With the 35, it's a little bit more compressed, even though 35 is still considered wide angle. So the sun is actually kind of approaching. So we might have to shift a little bit, but let me go through this real quick so we don't have the sun like hitting Malik right in the face. So now this is the 35 at 2.8, 35 at 3.5, at 4. Oh, actually, hold on. So the adapter that I have, the FD to EF adapter that I have, it has a lock and open system on here, and if you don't lock it, the aperture doesn't work. So I had it open. So this is 2.8. This is 3.5. This is f4 and 5.6. And then at 5.6, we'll go up and open this guy up a little bit. So you can see, even at 5.6, there is still that compression, the bokeh in the background. It's not lights for you to see, you know, the Christmas lights for you to see, but at least you can see on the wall how it looks compared to the 24 and 30 and 28. So let's switch back to 2.8. Bring this guy back down. And we're gonna switch to my favorite lens out of all this set, which is the 50. So this is 51.4. So we will have to stop this guy all the way down here and then focus. And with this one at 1.4, you can see Malik shift to your left a little bit. Yeah, right there. Maybe a little bit right there. Okay. So I'm gonna move this camera a little bit this way. And you can see this is at 1.4. And at 1.4, you can clearly see that vintage, you know, like shine, you know, kind of haziness going on. It's not too distracting, but you can also clearly tell that it's there. So we go to F2 right there, and now it's kind of like less. And then if we go to 2.8, it's even going to be less and even more sharper. So now let's open the FD a little bit, one stop right there. And that is 2.8 right there. And that's one thing I like about this 50mm, because it's 1.4 and it's at the softest at 1.4. But when you open it up to 2.8 compared to the 24, 28, 35, this 50 is at its sharpest and less haziness and less softness compared to the rest of it. And that is why this right here is my favorite out of all these lenses. So this is 50 millimeter, 2.8. We're gonna go all the way to 5.6. And we're gonna open this guy up. So at 5.6, you can still see the compression because again, it's a 50 millimeter. It's longer than the 24 and the 35. So right there is a 50. Now this lens that we're about to go to, I haven't used it as much for video. I know a time is gonna come that I will really use it, but I haven't used it as much. So let's go back to 2.8. Stop this guy down, right there. And the next lens is the 100. And like I was saying, I haven't used this guy as much, but I'm excited to see it on camera. I think this might be the first time I've put it on the Z cam. So let's switch to the 100 and see how this guy looks on the Z cam. So we're gonna open this. Can you take the lens cap off? And swap. And one thing I like about this handle, I mean, I feel like the breech lock, all of them is supposed to do that. But the moment you align the lens, the breech lock kind of like turns by itself, which is really nice. So here, let's put the ND filter on here. And then now 2.8. All right, this time Malik, look in the camera. There you go. This is 100, 2.8. So beautiful for the close-up, for the detail, you know, right there, hitting that focus. And if I take this guy off the stick and I go all the way back and I focus, you can see that compression right there. If you look at that background. Look at how creamy it looks. Right there. Malik, why are you laughing? Because I said creamy? That's what she said. Oh, man. So 100. All right, keep looking straight. Right there. Look at that. Look at that shot. Look at that shot. All right, so now we're gonna stop it down to 5.6. I wouldn't even go to f4. And then we will open this guy up. All right. And now at f4, there is still that compression, but even more sharper. And I should really use this lens a lot. I should. Malik is even shaking his head. You guys can see him. I should really use this guy a lot because, man, this shot is so beautiful. Like, for a close-up shot, I know a lot of people like 75 and 85, but 100, man. Yeah, I need to shoot this guy a lot. So, now as far as the normal lenses, I say normal because the next focal length is also a 100 millimeter lens. But this one is a macro lens. And again, for video, I don't think I've used it that much. I used it maybe once or twice for photo for a client shoot. but I haven't used it much for video. So let's test it out, see how it looks, and yeah. And there it is, 100mm macro. So, okay. I was about to say crap, I might have, but it's also a 55. So that means I have a filter ring here that I can use. So we're gonna switch this guy. Open, and take this guy off. You have to hold here. Yeah. All right, here, let's do this. Hold on to this. And try not to touch the glass. There we go. Yeah. And this also, as soon as you line it up, it turns by itself. So let's get this guy back on here. And then take this off. Yeah. And then we have it. Now, unfortunately, for the macro, it is only f4. So we're gonna go to f4 and open up this, put it right there, and we're gonna try to focus. Now, you can see the difference of the compression between the normal 100 versus the macro lens. But this lens can focus 1-to-1. So we're going to put it to the closest and then get really close in Malik's face. Sorry, bro. So put your leg over. And I might even, like, look at that. So all right, I have your nose and everything. All right, here. Yeah, stay right there so I can put it to your eye. All right, look straight. And I can see my future in the eyes of Malik. So now, I think right there, look at that. Because Malik is like, you know, he's a human, so he's kind of moving back and forth, but I'm gonna focus with him. Let's open this. And look at that sweet, sweet. Right there, I can see the sun in Malik's eye. I can see my future. I can see his future wife. Are you bugging? We can use this lens as a fortune teller. Come forward. Yeah, right there. Go back just a little bit. Keep going back. Right there. Look at that. Keep going back. Right there. Yep. Ah, this is beautiful. So, that is it. That sums up our test. It's been a pleasure. Stay around because we're about to shoot a little skate video, you know, something really cool with these lenses that we just like looked at. Let me know in the comments which focal lens is your favorite. Which one would you prefer to use? Do you have FD lenses? Have you tried it before? Maybe if you haven't, you should give it a try because people are really, I mean, it's been popular among cinematographers for a while, but these days, because of these cheap cinema lenses that it's not all that cheap, compared to buying these FD lenses. So the DZLs are supposed to be what is it called? Affordable, budget friendly cinema lenses. Nitsi, Sigma is not that cheap. Sigma is up there. Typoc, the Typoc Cinerig, but you can never beat the prices of these FDs. So stick around to the end of the video, but I appreciate you watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Shout out to Malik for being our test subject today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, bye-bye.